Thank you very much, Claire. And thank you, everybody. I should give kudos. I've got a bunch of our team here. My co-director, Margarita Kiwis, wave your hand. Our director of research, Rosanna Guadagno, and Karen Gutierrez. Where are you, Karen? She stepped out. Okay, so there's lots of people for you to meet here. I want to give a quick overview of our work and then really give you a concrete example. There's some theoretical framework here that I think is helpful for people as we think about terminology and the nuance of terminology that's so important. I should probably frame all of this by saying in our lab we take a very behavior perspective. We don't know about people's beliefs and we don't know about their attitudes. What we really care about is what people actually do, because we can measure that. When we can measure that, we can build technology for that. When we can build technology for that, we have a chance to change human behavior at scale. And we think that's the fastest way to making a difference around this space. So I'm going to give very quickly, I'll show the slides. This is a placeholder for you to go back and read the academic grokky details of what we do. But basically, people are not used to hearing peace, technology, and profit and business all in the same sentence. We do all of that. And so for me, this is particularly exciting to be here today because we sort of have all our audiences in the room. We think about the challenge of definitions and getting terminology precise from a supply chain perspective and from a logistics, a supply chain of violence and a supply chain of peace perspective. So I want you to think about this space down here as sort of the supply chain of violence. In the military, they've been talking for a long time about how, since the early 2000s at least, how do we get left of boom? Like before the bad guy blows something up, how do we intervene in that space? And we look at that with a little more nuance in terms of before somebody actually goes and physically detonates something and blows something up, they do some kind of, very often, as Manju was saying, they do some kind of digital behavior that we can identify as a fingerprint of reflective of what they are likely to do, predictive of the kinds of things they are likely to do in the real world. And so we're really focused on how do we get left of digital boom before our colleagues in the military have to deal with the physical boom. So I want to give you a little bit of a framework here for thinking about this. If you look now in terms of quality of engagement, in terms of what's your intervention going to look like, the traditional kinds of technologies we have built are defense technologies that fall into this quadrant over here. After things go boom, the military deploys, and their interventions are all defense technology. They tend to be kinetic, they tend to be painful, they tend to be expensive. If you are instead in Manju's shoes, you're back here in this space. You're looking at policy and diplomacy. You have tools like sanctions. You have tools like being able to detect people and lock them up before they do bad things and so on. But it's still, the key thing I want you to notice here, expensive for society. Generally, you don't want to be on the wrong end of Manju's investigations, basically. So, then you've got positive engagement. And over here, we've got the humanitarian sector. Most of it, right of boom. It's after things have already broken, right? And so it's remedial, again, very expensive, and because it's remedial, not sustainable. By contrast, we build technology over here. This is us. So we come out of the persuasive technology lab at Stanford, we do behavior design, we look at technology that is reward-driven, that measurably increases positive pro-social behavior across different boundaries in very sustainable ways. So if anybody ever asks you what we do and how we fit and so on, I want you to be able to draw this on the back of a napkin, Silicon Valley style. That's what this diagram is for. There's more to these slides, but I think I'm not going to go into this. We think about engagement in terms of positive and negative engagement and episodes of engagement and how we can track that. But rather than go into this detail, like I say, I'll show the slides later. You can dig into this in more depth. I will give a concrete example of one of the projects we're spinning out of the lab that addresses all the stakeholders in the room. We're trying to engage government, industry, civil society, and obviously we're trying to build a research tool for all of our academic colleagues in the process. So oh, that's just contact information. If our tech guys can run the video now, I'd be just so grateful. By the way, the AV techs at Palantir are awesome. I put him on the spot and embarrassed him now. It's coming, it's coming. So in our lab, we regularly do spin out startups. So this is an example of a platform startup that we're trying to build in collaboration, actually, with a big power utility company, among others.
Did you realize that your business is not only good for business, it also generates amazing value for society through positive interactions? Research shows that when people have positive interactions, the level of trust goes up. People feel safer and happier, and that is worth a lot. Up to now, this value was impossible to measure, but with PAX Exchange, you get the recognition you deserve. Okay, that is a great story, but how does it work in real life? Welcome to Cityville, a city just like yours. The population of Cityville has increased because of new migrant workers. There is little interaction between the original and the new Cityvillers, and tension between the groups has built up. Trust in Cityville is low. The mayor doesn't know how to solve this problem. His best bet is to spend millions on a police force without being able to measure the result. Meet Ayana. She is one of the new migrants. She works as a driver for a popular ride-sharing service. Today, one of her customers is Thomas. It took 22 minutes to drive Thomas to the airport while having a good conversation. Interactions like these increase the trust between Thomas and Ayana and the groups they represent. For the first time in history, data about interactions between people is captured and measured. The PAX Exchange platform uses the anonymized and aggregated information about Ayana's ride and many other interactions from other platforms to help 3 different groups of people: tech companies, city officials, and social entrepreneurs. For tech companies, PAX Exchange makes their positive impact visible, and they can bank on that. PAX Exchange helps cities to pinpoint any problem area and to come up with solutions. On the PAX Exchange platform, they can place their challenge and attach a reward so that social entrepreneurs can come up with creative and measurable solutions for a fraction of the cost. PAX Exchange, making communities thrive. PAX Exchange is an initiative by the Peace Innovation Lab at Stanford and the Energy Innovation Hub. Join us and be the first to use and benefit from PAX Exchange. We are now open to partner. We offer a limited opportunity to a select group of leading tech companies who want insight in and get rewarded for their positive impact.
So that's one example of the kind of platforms that we're trying to build so that social entrepreneurs, who we call peace tech entrepreneurs, who are deploying positive peace tech in universities, the kind of program that Tony is running, they can very quickly, using this platform, measure if their intervention is working or not. And to do that, we need one crucial thing, which is a peace data standard, which is all of these different companies that have this kind of positive engagement data. We need a standardized framework for that. And my colleague Rosanna is leading that initiative in our lab to build that standard. That needs to have industry on board, obviously. Also needs to have regulators on board to help industry be able to deal with this kind of data in very safe and ethical ways. So we've got all of those challenges. First thing I would invite is all of you who are interested, come collaborate with us on getting the next iteration of that peace data standard out. Second thing is, for civil society members, stay tuned for that platform. You can go to paxexchange.co. You can sign up there, and that platform will be not only an aggregation of data resources that will save you costs and save you innovation risk, but also eventually similar kinds of resources as Tony is deploying in terms of support for your peace tech startup and so forth. I think I got in here under 10 minutes. I'm pretty much done. If you've got further questions, reach out to my colleagues here. My co-director and I unfortunately have to leave to go talk to one of our founders. But it was wonderful to see you all, and Karen and Rosanna will be here for a little while yet. Thank you very much.